S&S Tire offers the industry's best brand names: Michelin, Goodyear, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Firestone, and much,
just
much
save
more.
this for
The
Thursday.
Tire pros at S&S offer professional installation and the region's best price. In addition to
I
your tire needs,
you want to end it
S&S
with Auburn
offers full
baseball at the
automotive
Capital City
mechanical
Classic?
work for all your
that'd be
vehicle
fine.
maintenance
He's
and
on the
repairs
SEC
with the area's
Network. You know
most
that, don't you?
experienced staff. Visit either of our 2 locations on Cherokee Road in Alex City or at South Street in Dadeville. At S&S
didn't have
Tire,
the
we're installing
equestrian
peace of
as-
mind
you
for
didn't want to
every
talk about the
customer we
equestrian.
serve. Every job,
I figure
every day.
people, yeah, they've heard enough. Welcome back, everyone, to the final segment of the Tuesday Sports Call. Andy and Brett here taking you home to 6 o'clock. Still time to get that final phone call in. 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll free or locally at 334-887-3401. Playbooks for everybody. It's the Capital City Classic tonight.
Have I been
Auburn,
that negative today?
Yes.
I
no,
have
you
been that
haven't.
negative.
No.
Okay.
Look, you tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Hey,
Tell the
sometimes the truth is negative. Well, it hadn't been negative, though. All right, let's just say that. It hadn't been negative.
No, well,
It's been reality.
it hadn't been positive.
Well, what has been? You're the one that reeled off the reality numbers that of us having the dead worst record in the last 15, and that kind of originated from me.
Yes,
didn't
it did.
You went home and said, "I wonder if he was right on that," and then you went and did the
You're-
research.
it's
and you were
worse.
right.
It's actually worse.
It's worse than what I said.
Well, our winning percentage.
I have told so many people about that, and over the last week and a half. Now, I'm still astonished by that. I'm still blown away that we are at the dead rock bottom of the 3 major men's sports
Combined winning percentage.
combined SEC winning records.
Yeah, only 12 out of 45 seasons. Winning record, just a winning record.
12 out of 45. That's just one game over 500.
We only have one in the last 5 years.
I mean, look, say what you want to say, but Auburn fans ought to be in an uproar about that, Andy. I mean, a lot of times we don't sit back and analyze what reality is, but if you want to analyze that ought to make you sick to your stomach. I mean, we walk out of games and we're mad because we lose here and there, and we were upset that we didn't live up to expectations last year. But if you really want to sit down and be nauseous, you look at that stat. I'm sorry, it makes me nauseous because I am that passionate, and I do love our university and our team so much that when we are that bad, it's disgusting.
It is. And speaking of that, Auburn 11-13, 1-5 in the SEC in baseball. Again, Andrew Mitchell going tonight. He's 3-0, 4.05 ERA. He'll take on John Keller, 1-0 with a 1.62 ERA. Although he's only, I think, pitched about 16 innings on the year. But Auburn's 6-1 in this game. We can beat Alabama in this one. We can't seem to beat them in a series.
Or 7-1 against them, aren't we?
I think 6-1. I think this is the 8th game.
Oh, this is the 8th. That's right, 6-1.
So.
Yeah.
But
it didn't equivalate to. Let's go to the phone lines real quick and get William before we get off. William, you're on Sports Call.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. War Eagle.
War Eagle, William.
I just wanted to call and say that what y'all were just talking about and the record of the last 50 years, it's so spot on. It's not necessarily being negative about Auburn, it's being realistic.
That's exactly right.
And I was sitting here on my drive. I commute to Montgomery every day, and I was thinking about calling in early, and I was like, there's nothing good to talk about. There really isn't, and it's not being negative. It's simply being realistic about our programs right now, and it's upsetting. And I just really feel like until there's major change, cultural change on the men's side of sports within the AD, I don't know if it's ever going to get better. That's all I had, guys. Thank you.
Hey, we appreciate it. And
well, don't swerve into oncoming traffic.
Well, I mean, he's not. I mean, that's the thing. The thing is that he's. I think that may be the best way to say it. Is that unfortunately what reality is negative right now. I am sick about it. I'm sick that you went back and looked that up and found that we were last.
As I said, I'm sorry I brought it up.
I'm sorry you did too, because it just echoed. But maybe it does bring to the forefront and attention that there's been a lingering problem there that we've masked with a few good football seasons here and there. I mean, okay. I mean, am I wrong for saying it that way?
No, I mean we have extracted a lot more than anybody else out of these horrible records. I mean, and I think that kind of allows us to say, well, hey, we could have played in 3 national championship games. We got, shut out of 04, but we played in 2. We won 1. Got 3 SEC titles.
And there's definitely a lot of positive stuff in there, you can spin it that way. But then when you take those 3 out,
you don't spin it. It's ugly. It's just, oddly enough, I was talking to my brother-in-law, big Auburn fan, and he just said, something you ought to do for the show. I want you to go back and look during the 10 years Jay Jacobs has been athletic director. What's our winning percentage in the 3 major sports? And I said, brother, I've done it.
I've already done it. I'm ahead of you.
I sent him the statistics,
and he threw up.
And I said, "Don't look at him with a full stomach. It's bad. It's bad."
He's still on IV.
He's still on IV. That's going to do it for the Tuesday Sports Call. Thanks so much for all of you out there listening. All of you that called in. Sports Call back on the air tomorrow. Will and Tom will be with you at 4:00. For Brett Pritchard, I'm Andy Graham saying so long for now. We'll talk again soon.
How was he today? He's on it today. Scotty sent out a text about 15 minutes in. Brett said he was going to be on it today. I didn't know it'd be this day. He was like, I like it though. I can't spin that nasty. You just got to be like, come on, man. Let's get you a little bit more. Hey, don't swerve in the oncoming traffic. He said, I'm just saying, nothing bothers me. No, it's just them. How many do we have? We have one talker. Okay. We only have one. We have one talker. Maybe one singer. The lone singer. So I think they're just. Why don't Scotty get up? See you, Andrew. Hey, see my screen. I'd rather do these multiple. I don't know if everybody's prepared to talk. This dang phone is totally froze up. Randy is busy right now. I'm trying. They're going to have to reboot. Shocking me enough. All right, Scott. She's going to put a headset on, clean them all 4. Come on, Bob. Go ahead and get covered. The other 2 pass the mic. I'll go ahead and get y'all. You go ahead and get right there, Scott. Let me get y'all. Y'all 2 right here. Okay. I'm gonna turn this on, and y'all just ask me there.
Okay.
I don't know really. We're gonna go with. What do you want to talk? I don't know. I'll probably just, what are you about to be a junior or about to be a senior? Oh, here we go, girls. We'll take this picture. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on, Brett. Here we go. All right, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. All right. All right, give me a call up there. Call those. I don't know. I'll probably just ask you about fishing tournament. Yeah, I mean, I got them. I'm saying she's the only one that knows what they're really coming up here for.
They haven't been on the team for like a year, so that's the only thing.
They've only been on the team for a year?
No, they were on the team and then they didn't try it last year, and now they're back. So they haven't done the fishing tournament for a while.
All right, I'll tell you what you can talk about. Y'all can talk about this fundraiser tournament, but what does it go to?
Uniforms and camp. We're going Safe House. We're going June 22nd through the 25th to Gulf Shores at Beach Club Resort.
This is what we want to talk about.
This is for uniforms, for competition, because we are going to state this year to compete. for 2A.
Are you getting this just in case I forget?
Yeah. So it's kind of y'all both kind of if one explains this, the other explains another thing. Okay, we have also other fundraisers that we're starting. We don't have to name the fish tournament is the biggest one we have. This is the most beneficial.
And you're going to be talking to, right? So I'm
I'm going to be talking about this.
Okay, so I'll feed in, and you feed in with me. We'll feed in with each other. This is awful.
We're going to just read the sponsorship.
All right, just the first row, and then you can do the second row.
Okay.
Then we'll come back on the third one and let somebody else do it.
Can we fold this away? Yeah. It's kind of hard to see.
Hey, do y'all hear me?
Hey, yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 rows, so we can do that. So we skip the middle? No, you're going to read them too, and I'm going to read that. Yeah.
Maddie, I can hear
Hey,
you.
are y'all good to start?
Yeah, whenever you're ready to go.
All right, I just started the bumper.
Do I look ugly?
All right, coming to you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good Tuesday evening, everyone, and welcome in to the Sports Blitz Late Morning Sports Roundup Show, live on location at JR Sports Bar and Grill, as we are each and every Tuesday from 6 to 7. We're hoping everybody's having a great day outside. It's very pleasant, and we're hoping everybody's had the opportunity to take advantage of it. We have a jam-packed show tonight, a lot of guests here that we're going to have the opportunity to speak with, but we'll intro the show today with the Horseshoe Bend Cheerleaders, who will be hosting their own fishing tournament this weekend. And I am joined by some of those members up here now, but doing a lot of the talking will be head cheerleader Morgan Richardson. So Morgan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for bringing me on the show.
Yeah, so fishing tournament. Yeah, can you give us a little background on what's going on this weekend?
Well, this is our 7th annual fishing tournament, so we're hoping for this to be a big turnout this year. We've done a lot of advertisement. It's on April 2nd at Wind Creek State Park. It's $100 per boat to enter, and we're doing an optional big fish pot. It's $10 per boat. And first place, you get $1,600. Second place, $800. Third place, $400. And fourth and fifth place get $100.
Yeah, and so again, those definitely seem like some reasonable prices. And as you said, this is your 7th tournament that you guys will be putting on. So comparatively to maybe 2 years ago? Has the fishing tournament been growing? Have you guys seen the amount of participants grow?
Yes, like 2 years ago we had about 45 boats, and then last year we had 66 boats. So we're hoping to have more than 66 this year.
And again, April the 2nd, coming off the heels of a fishing tournament last weekend, and again, lets you know what a hot spot our Lake Martin area is. But again, so what would this money be used for?
This is going to be used for our camp. We're going to the beach this year. We haven't been there in a while. It's on June the 22nd through the 25th. We're competing there, and it's for gas, getting up there, paying for the rooms, uniforms to compete in. So
when you say camp, so for those listening who may not necessarily know what that entails, what all goes along with a normal cheerleading camp?
Well, I'm not going to lie, it's very stressful at times. I mean, you learn things for football games, also like pep rallies, pepping up the team. Also for basketball season, you have to have half times, get the crowd involved. And also we learn extreme routine, which we use that at pep rallies also. So it's really stressful at times, but it's team building.
I got you. So again, you talk about having advertisement for the fishing tournament. Obviously, in order to have a successful event, you need sponsorship. So I think you guys have a list of sponsors, and throughout the next couple of segments, we'll try to break those down. But I know right now we have a couple of the cheerleaders up here who can maybe relay some of those sponsorships for us.
Some of our sponsors are John McKelvey, County Commissioner, Holly's Home Furnishing, Pediacare Associates, Good Water Pharmacy, Grace's Flowers, Walls Tire and Services, Verna Ministries, Save a Life, Buck's Dairy Cream, East Service and Supply Inc., Randy Funeral Home, Southern Design and Material, Zajax Auto Collisions Inc., Jimmy Abbott, Depot Gun and Pone, Dr. William Harrell, Ray's Collision Cent in Auburn, U.S. American Bank, Playhouse Cinema, Downtown Body Shop, Russell Building Supply, Wellborn Forest Products, Inc., Darwin Dobbs, Richardson Construction, LLC, Big B Barbecue, McKelvey's Chevrolet, AutoZone, Tallapoosa and Randolph County Court Referral, Dark Insurance, Armstrong, Holly, Abernathy Farm Supply, Lake Martin, Mistroni, Riverbank and Trust, Randy Dawkins, Jeremy Durr, Foodland Dable, Home Depot, Brandon's Honeybee Farm, CT Electric, Jackson's Refrigeration, Heating and Air, JR's, Curly Motor Company, Tallapoosa Ford, Liberty National, Angela Henson.
Show Enough Barbecue, Shops of Queen's Attic, Town and Country Cleaners, Ingram Grading and Paving, Express Yourself, Scott Accounting and Computer Services, Alpha, Larry's Merchandise, Robinson Iron, Who's Diner, Foshi's White Curb Market, Alabama Risk Management, Fred's Cabinet Shop, Jack Walker, Stuart Fox, U-Safe Car and Truck Rental, Elk City Auto Collision, Dennis Logging, Clearwater Foresters, Williams Heating and Air, New Site Forest Services, Elk City Glass, Sheriff Septic and Construction, Unique Barbecue, Patrick Craddock, Security Pest Control, The Chase Agency, Remax Around the Lake, Farmers and Merchants Bank, Lee and Michael Wingard, Disability Representatives, CRG Services, Studio Sound Megan McCants, E&J's One Stop, Ooh La La, Elk City Marine Sales and Services, Longleaf, Scooters Grill, City Accounting and Tax Service, Gentleman Jack Game Calls, West End Baptist Church, and Huddle House.
Again, we made a joke about this last week, but I don't think there's another business available left for a sponsorship. So again, congratulations for you guys getting the amount of support that you did. But again, recapping date of the tournament, registration time, and some more of the prices, the prizes that will be given away.
It's on April 2nd at Wind Creek State Park. $100 per boat to enter. Will be at registration at 5 a.m. in the Wind Creek State Park store, and optional big fish pot, $10. And also, you can call Miss Portia Worthy at Horseshoe Bend School at 256-329-9110, or her cell phone number, 256-749-3656, or you can also email her at pworthy@tallapoosak12.org for any additional information, or if you want to enter.
Absolutely. Well, that's great work, guys. And again, we'll go ahead and take our first break of the evening, and when we return, we'll have some other of the Horseshoe Bend cheerleaders up here to kind of get their feel for the tournament and what they're expecting for this fall and their activities. We'll go ahead and take another break. More of the Late Morning Sports Roundup show right after this.
Four, three, two, one.
Welcome back, everyone, and thanks for joining the Late Morning Sports Roundup show live on location at JR Sports Bar and Grill, as you are each and every Tuesday. And we're glad that you guys are out there listening or watching us on TV on Channel 3 WXC. But again, we just had a great opening segment. We had the Horseshoe Bend cheerleaders up here speaking a little bit about their fishing tournament that will be taking place on this Saturday, April the 2nd. And again, they have done a tremendous job in acquiring a lot of sponsorship dollars. And again, we appreciate our community being so supportive of events like this. But right now, what we want to do is give the rest of the cheerleaders an opportunity to introduce themselves and whatever they'd like to say. So take it away.
My name is Leah Osborne, and I'm a freshman.
My name is Maggie Abernathy, and
My name is Bailey Mitchell, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Lexi Hudson, and I'm a junior.
My name's Jasmine Brazel, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Annie Kate Claybrook, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Riley Holly, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Mackenzie Willoughby, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Madison Johnson, and I'm a junior.
I'm Cindy Catcher, and I'm a junior.
I'm Ivy Vickers, and I'm a sophomore.
And I'm Morgan Richardson, and I'm a senior.
So real quickly, before we end things, one more push, and if anybody that's out there listening, one more plea for them to attend and participate in the fishing tournament this weekend. What would you have to say to them?
Just remember, it's at Wind Creek State Park on April 2nd, $100 per boat to enter, 5 a.m. registration, $3,000 guaranteed payback. Also, if you need to send in any information or ask any information, you can call Ms. Portia Worthy at the Horseshoe Bend School or her cell phone number at 256-749-3656 or email her at pworthy@tallapooza-k12.org.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you guys for coming up here today, and we hope we were able to provide you a little more support for this weekend's event, and good luck, and we hope you guys are able to raise a lot of money. That'll end this segment right here, and when we return, Randy and I will have one more segment, and then we'll bring on some more guests from the Benjamin Russell fishing team. More of the Late Morning Sports Roundup show right after this. Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup. Randy Lee alongside Scott Hardy, and just happy to have the Horseshoe Bend cheerleaders on board with us tonight and excited about the fishing tournament that they've got coming up. I think the Benjamin Russell High School cheerleaders had a fishing tournament this past weekend. It was a big success, upwards of 60-plus boats, I believe, in that tournament, and that is a nice tournament here on Lake Martin, and we've had one after another, it feels like, here in the early part of the season. And Scott, we've got a baseball tournament going on currently over there, the Lake Martin Classic. I can tell you exactly how long that one's been going on. I'm almost certain it's 20 years this year. It was my senior year, was the first year, and I could be wrong there, but that is may have been my junior year. But nonetheless, it's been 21 years that we've been able to host that tournament here in Alexander City. There's 18 teams in it. It's a, 4-day tournament? Mm-hmm. Anytime you get a 4 or 5-day tournament with 18 teams in it that are traveling in and eating at your establishments, and you've got fishing tournaments like you've seen as well going on, it's great for the community, great for tourism, and just great for overall what is going on here in the Lake Martin community, trying to make sure that there's constantly something going on. When you've got the lake in your backyard, you need to do things like this.
Absolutely, and then that's what we were talking about with the Horseshoe Bend cheerleaders, is when we started that segment, was that you seen a continuous onslaught of these tournaments. And so not only are you able to gain the sponsorships from it, but it's been a tremendous thing from a tourism side, as you said. And when you bring in the aspect of the Sportsplex and what everything you can do with that, definitely love the opportunity to showcase what Alexander City is about in our local community when you are able to have tournaments like this. And this was always my favorite event in high school, the Lake Martin Classic. So many different types of baseball teams, so much talent, and teams you may not have the opportunity to face throughout the year, but always kind of a good test to see what you're going to do for the rest of the season. But we did have one game complete that was from one of our local area teams, and that was Davil. They did fall to Westbrook earlier today, and I don't know if we had a final score for the Benjamin Russell game.
Benjamin Russell won 2-0 this afternoon over Marbury. I think combined for a no-hitter in the game. Sean Rape and Darius Jackson, I think, combined for that. A no-hitter in the game is at least my understanding, and that's a Marbury team that we have struggled mightily with because they swing the bat so well. And I don't know what they've got this year, but I'm thinking a couple of years back when we had a very, very good senior-laden team. Zach Rogers was pitching. Sean was still throwing them, but Bryant Horn, and keep going down the list. Then Caleb Brooks, they beat us out in the second round. They also kept us from winning our area, so we had to go to them in the second round and match up with them because we couldn't beat them in the area also. And it's because they swung the bat so well. So to be able to blank them no matter what is always a good thing, and 2-0 victory to get things started off. There's a very, very good group of teams playing in this, and Coach Brooks and Coach Graven and everyone involved, and there is a number of people that are involved to make sure that this thing goes off correctly, have really stepped out to make sure that they're reaching out and having some of the best programs here in the state of Alabama. And that's important because you want your competition level at this time of year to maybe raise up a little bit. You don't want to have any, as you're going into area play, going into playoff play, that are just gimme wins, Scott, because it gets you a little bit out of the swing of things. You know, the guys that need to be in rotation, the guys that really are going to be your starters, they're the ones you want on the mound now. That's always an important part of this year, and you hope your bats are peaking at the right time. I don't know how well we swung it today, but we got a couple of runs up there, and it was enough when you pitched it the way that we did today.
Well, let me ask you this. We're talking about the bats and a team like Marbury and, you know, seeing some of our lower scores, and we talk about on the collegiate level about the run production being down. Have you seen that on the high school level as well? Is it transferring?
You talking about Tennessee BB Corps?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's even more so on the high school level. The power numbers they're not non-existent, but they're close in comparison. And it's not because players aren't stronger, because they are stronger today than they were 20 years ago. But whereas you would have a very good team that would hit 35 to 40 home runs in a season, which is probably what the numbers sat around here when we had good teams for a decade or so, you may hit 1 or 2 now. And it's not because the kids aren't strong enough to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So it's got a lot to do with the bats. The best example I like to give is Bryant Horn, and hopefully Bryant, but Bryant hit 4 out as a freshman, true freshman, with the old BESR bats, and moved as a sophomore, and he got nothing but stronger the whole time he was in high school. Probably gained another 20, 25 pounds of muscle. I don't know that he hit another one out, Scott. So let that sink in a little bit. The The bats have really dulled it down. For major leagues trying to determine who prospects are, when you're a big, huge bat like Russ Johnson, you're going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Ben Marbury would have hit the ball out of the ballpark. I'm not going to say with ease, but he'd hit the ball out of the ballpark with these bats. But those of us like you and me, and I mean, we probably wasn't hitting them out even then. But the scrawny ones like Tim Hudson that hit 21 out at Auburn as a junior, as he got player of the year in the country and weighed 160 pounds the whole time soaking wet that he was pitching in the pros. Those guys are the ones that were hard to determine what they were really going to pan out to be once they put a wood bat in their hand, Scott. And that also would to go along with the pitchers on the mound and trying to take them out of harm's way. You can understand their decision-making process. I've thrown out there that I would love to see don't strengthen the bats up, just bring the fences in a little bit. If you're going to dull it down a little bit, I do like watching the ball go out of the park.
It's good for the average person watching it. That's what you need is runs scored, and you're starting to see it on the major league level where even some of these teams who were struggling, they were really more of a pitcher's park, and they started to bring in their fences. Marlins did that. The Astros have done it. The A's did it. So, I mean, there are ways to combat it when you start to see the power numbers go down. But I'm with you, not necessarily strengthen the bats, but if you can refine what your stadium looks like, then you can do that.
I don't believe they'll ever strengthen the bats back up, Scott, because if a pitcher is in harm's way and the first fatality, Lord love it, but I mean, it's what you have to say, the first major injury that you would have once you strengthen them back up, you'd never hear the end of it. So you're not going to go back that way, Scott. So your only goal is to maybe change the dimensions of the field somewhat, and that's what I would like to see. I mean, Auburn University, I think, has almost hit as many home runs this year as they hit all year last year. Last year, I think Auburn University hit 17 or 18 home runs as a team in 60-plus games, Scott. And let that sink into a team that probably hit in 2010. Now, I'd have to pull the numbers, but Auburn led the conference in home runs in 2010. I'm going to say they hit well over 100 because they had 3 guys that hit over 20. So I would say that it was close. If it wasn't well over, it was close. So you're 20%. What you hit before the bat differential. Now it's that to me is taking it a little bit too far, Scott. And look, the old purist out there that like to bun it around and the tough sport and the pitching, maybe they have an issue with that. I like that part of baseball also, but I do like a guy that gets a good swing at the ball and strong enough to get the ball out of the park that he does, and not otherwise. What you got?
That's a good segue for our Lake Martin Area Player of the Week, Lake Martin Sports Roundup Player of the Week, presented by U.S. Ameribank, which is the ACMS baseball team here in Alexander City Middle School. Won the Tallahassee Middle School tournament Saturday with wins over Tallahassee, who they beat twice, Beauregard, and Russell County. Anytime you can beat Russell County, that's always a big deal. They outscored their opponents 31-7 during the tournament. So speaking of the bats, definitely they had to do it over that 4-game stretch.
That's a very strong group and a very
class,
and they've been coached very well growing up. And doesn't mean most of them don't, but let me tell you, when you got a group of fathers like this 8th grade group has had, I'm not going to mention names, but that have coached them through the ranks, you're going to get up here and you're going to win. And you already know how to win, and you've been taught that way. And I'm not even kind of surprised. I think several of those kids are even moving up and they're playing on the JV team right now.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. And
which tells you that the middle school program could also have probably 4 or 5 of them that are moving around and playing on different. So there's good groupings coming through. It's a good team this year. Saw a little bit earlier. We got some great pitching on this team, and hoping once we get into the strength area play and move into the playoffs, when you got pitching like we do, and Sean can throw and Corley can throw, and you got a number of others that can get up there and win games by shutouts and really pitch the ball. You have a chance every time you go out there, Scott, and that's the reason I'm looking forward to covering it. I know Dayville has had a tough start of the year. They've picked up a couple of wins here of late. They got one of the top players in the state in Cal Jones, so he gets a lot of the publicity, but that's been a Dayville program coached by Randy Nolan that's won as much as anybody here in this state over the last 20, 25 years that I've kept up with it. So he'll get things going back in the right direction. He does it as well as anyone, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we'll have the fishing team up here. We'll talk to them. They have been active as well, and this is the first inaugural year, and that word's not working out real good for me, for the Benjamin Russell High School fishing team. And the state, I believe 3 years ago, incepted this sport here in the state, and this is our first year to have a team, and I'm excited to let them come up here and talk about it. 256-234-6221. More of the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup right after this. Welcome back in, and thanks for joining the Lake Martin Sports Roundup Show, live on location at JR Sports Bar and Grill, as we are each and every Tuesday from 6 to 7. You're taking your calls. 256-234-6221 is the number to dial in, and also for JRs, it's 256-329-2328, and come get some of their great food off of their menu, or you can call it in and they will deliver for you. Again, JR Sports Bar and Grill, 256-329-2328. Right now, we want to welcome in some members of the BRHS bass team. Well, should I say bass, or is it fishing team?
Whichever one you want.
All right, well, we'll go with fishing team is what we'll go with. Welcome in Zach Phillips, Clayton Boone, and Kyle Watts, and I'm excited to have you guys up here at inaugural season for the fishing team here. So we'll start with you, Zach. What's it been like first season so far?
You know, it's been very interesting, just fishing different lakes and going over the state and getting to know other anglers and just getting to fish.
I got you. And who was responsible for setting up, or who approached someone about being a sponsor so you guys could have a team?
Really, us three here tonight were the ones that approached the sports director at the high school, and then they went from there.
I got you. And so, Clayton, I don't know, are you able to hear me? Okay. Clayton, what's your background on the fishing? Is that something you've always done growing up?
I've always liked to fish personally. It's something I've always wanted to do, fish for like the high school and try to get into it throughout my life.
I got you. So what would you say is the best thing about fishing?
Best thing about fishing, just being outside fishing. Really, it's a fun sport to do.
I got you. And Tyler, we'll ask you the same thing. Is fishing just something you've always done and kind of been a part of?
I've never done it on this kind of level right here, but I thought it'd be a good opportunity to get outside, just have a good time.
Yeah, and so how many tournaments, we'll go back to you, Zach, how many fishing tournaments have you guys participated in so far?
So far, we fished in 2 high schools, and looking forward to another one. We have to fish 3 at the required amount, but it's always good to get that extra couple in there if you can.
And what's the age group here? What are we looking at age-wise? I know we've got upcoming junior, and let's see, Clayton, what are you? Junior. So everybody is upcoming junior. Okay, so then that means you have 2 more years to kind of get the program established. So first year as a sophomore, how do you feel about being some of the main people that are allowing this process to take place so other people who may want to fish can have that opportunity as well?
It's a good opportunity to get other people interested, just kind of tell them how the process goes and get them involved.
Are there any scholarships available for on the fishing side on the collegiate level, or is it more club team on the collegiate level?
There is scholarships available. Just have to really work for them and fish hard and win some tournaments.
I got you. So let's see. We'll go back to Tyler. If I'm a novice fisherman, so if I'm on Lake Martin, what would be some prime fish for this area?
Well, I fished a tournament this past Saturday, and we had 5 spots. So spotted bass, you want to have at least 1 largemouth in your bag. That's going to be your bigger fish. So, but I'd say you're going to catch the majority of them going to be spotted bass.
And we'll go with you, Clayton. What's typically a winning weight for a tournament on the high school level? A winning weight, like what's usually the winning weight for a team? Mm-hmm.
17 pounds was winning weight this weekend.
So typically, is that where'd you guys come in? I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but were you around that area?
No.
Okay, so we won't go that route. But again, Coach Hines is the sponsor of that. What's that been like having him as the coach?
He's very supportive. He supported us throughout the season and worked with us and has kept us informed.
Gotcha. So what's up next for the fishing team? You guys have a tournament coming up anytime soon?
Hopefully we're going to Smith Lake. It's still in the works. We're not quite sure yet, but hopefully we can get that one in.
All right. Again, we're here with Zach Phillips, Clayton Boone, as well as Tyler Watts. And this is some of the members here for the BRHS fishing team, and we're so proud to have another sport added here to the Benj Russell scene. And again, for anybody that may be interested in joining for future team, can you give us a little background or some info on what they would need to do to be a part of the team?
Really, they just need to come to all the meetings we have during school and after school. Really in a sign-up form. Don't have to have a physical. Just need to come to all the meetings and just tell the coach you want to fish, and he'll get you in.
All right. Well, good deal. And again, Zach Phillips, Clayton Boone, and Tyler Watts, members of the BRHS fishing team. Again, their inaugural season. We're excited to have them on board and look forward to seeing how the sport increases participation-wise here in our area. Again, we'll go ahead and take another break. More of the Lake Martin Sports Roundup show right after this. Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup. Randy Lee alongside Scott Hardy. Got about 10 more minutes left here on this program as we'll head over and do Sports Blitz Live tonight. Charter Channel 80 statewide, also Charter Channel 3 in the Lake Martin region, 97.5 Kowaliga country, 7 to 9. And Scott and I will host on that side, and we've got a lot to talk about there. But we're staying here locally, Scott, and there was some couple updates out there from this past weekend that you can quickly pass along. And when you're in spring sports season, there's a ton of news that's going on, and the Alexander City Outlook does a great job. Dable Record does a great job of getting the news out there on all of these sports, so make sure to pick one of those up if you're looking for the most recent articles on what's going on with both of those. And you got a couple of those you can pass along here, Scott.
Shout out to my man Robert Hudson, who holds it down on the sports editing side with Outlook. But Wildcats won today, making them 14-8. But they had a victory over Beauregard this past weekend, making them 13-8 at the time. Another big opportunity for them to beat some teams that have the same caliber of competition that they'll be facing later. Beauregard, regardless of A, is always going to be a good baseball team. But Dable, again, as you said, kind of a little slower start toward the beginning of the season, middle. But St. James defeated them 6-5. So some more runs being scored, but just not the victory there for the day.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll catch up with some of the other local area teams, maybe Horseshoe Bend Baseball and some others, and find out how their seasons are going on here in the next coming week. Run down our Lake Martin Sports Roundup team of the week again, or we usually have a player of the week, but this week it's a team of the week, and they're very deserving, Scott.
Yeah, again, that was the ACMS baseball team who won the Tallahassee Throwdown, or the Tallahassee Throwdown there. But again, the U.S. Ameribank Lake Martin Sports Roundup Players of the Week is the ACMS baseball team here in Alexander City. Won the Tallahassee Middle School tournament Saturday with wins over Tallahassee, twice Beauregard, and Russell County. So, again, they outscored their opponents 31-7 over the tournament.
And that is a great tournament for them, and they have had several big tournaments over there in Tallahassee, and Tallahassee puts on a very good tournament, and they're a great baseball, I call them a factory, a great baseball program that they've had for a long, long time on that end, Scott. And tonight, I guess we'll move over and we'll start talking about the NCAA tournament. Your bracket's got to be equally as bad as everybody else's. Are you pretty good?
I quit looking after the first weekend.
I haven't looked at all. I think I am close to last. There's no way anybody could have picked less winners than I did.
Well, you go for your heart. You go for teams that you're familiar with.
I did. I picked Kentucky and Texas A&M to go to the Final Four.
I mean,
does that give you anything? Pick Michigan State to win. Can you imagine anyone having? If I just told you those three, who's got a worse bracket than me?
Well, I had Michigan State playing Kansas in the championship game. Had Arizona going to the Sweet 16. They went on and got put out the first game. Let's see. Had somebody else, Duke. They got beat. I had Xavier and Kentucky in the Elite Eight going for the Final Four games. So I didn't really do that well at all. And in the bracket, that's either I'm first or last. You just how it goes. Well, Ricky Bobby action. But I'm excited actually about it. I think this was the best tournament we've seen in a long time. If you like parity, in which in reality it's really not if you're looking at the seeding. But there were some other teams that got some recognition and some spotlight that normally probably wouldn't have, like a Northern Iowa or somebody like that.
They did, but I will say this: the ratings are way down. And the Blue Bloods carry the ratings, and last year's was great ratings. When you had Kentucky undefeated, you had Wisconsin that carries a huge fan base wherever they go. Most of those programs are able to make it through Duke, of course. They're going to carry ratings with them. So if you care about that type of thing, me, I don't. I hear it. It really doesn't bother me. I kind of like watching the Northern Iowas. I like watching the Stephen F. Austins. Luke can get upset with me, but, it's their moment in the sun. And they don't get those. It's kind of fun to watch, the .2 guard for Stephen F. Austin be the best player on the court. And he won't be in the pros for the most part. There's only so many Steph Currys that end up coming through and doing what that guy. But without a doubt, the games that he was out there, he's the best player on the court. And that's the beauty of the college game, Scott. If you're a shooter and you're in a system that kind of shows off your talents like many do in this college game, do you enjoy watching that as well?
I love it. Well, the thing you look at on the college level, we talk about it, but you look at a team like Stephen F. Austin, Northern Iowa, or George Mason, Butler, exactly what they've turned into. They don't really fit the mold anymore, but they don't really have spectacular players. Now they'll have somebody come through like Andrew Morrison, somebody like that, but as a whole, not really. So they have a collection of talent that shows if you're a team like an Auburn, Alabama, that you don't necessarily have to have a DeMarcus Cousins or John Wall come to your school. That helps, but the most successful teams, especially on the tournament style of play, have more maturity on their roster compared to maybe one and dones like a Kentucky.
Here's another thing I think you will see for sure as you watch a Syracuse get through as a 10 seed. They will be watching closely those teams that match up well enough to make it through, in my opinion. I don't think you'll see the mediocre teams that maybe did fairly well in their conference getting in when they turn the tape on and they go, that team lost in the ACC. They finished 7th or 8th in their conference, which we look at, just the eye looking down from the sky tells me that they could beat anyone on any given night. Those teams that can beat anyone on any given night are going to get in the tournament if you see more of Syracuse's happenings that came through in this year, Scott, to me.
Well, and the thing, too, you talk about a team like Syracuse, and once Michigan State got beat, I said it immediately. I was like, the tournament is wide open now for Syracuse because they fit that same mold of a team like a Izzo coach team where Boeheim knows what he's doing when it gets to tournament time. And if you don't go against most college teams are playing man. That's what it's going to be. But when you have to go against that 2-3 zone, you haven't faced that throughout the season. That changes your whole scheme of things. You
know what the funny thing, though, is with Syracuse? They've won their games when they've been down going into full court pressure.
That's true.
They're known for the 2-3 zone, and then they put this full court pressure in their length when they go into something that you really haven't prepared yourself for, because you know if you're hitting outside shots, and it's tough to even get outside shots with Syracuse's length. They defend the three-point line as well as if they were matched up in man. And most teams that are in 2-3, they don't defend the perimeter all that well. The only hope that you have is they're just not going to shoot. They're going to shoot poorly enough from the perimeter, and you'll have everybody enough, and you're going to make sure that you're boxing out your rebounding well. But Syracuse does it a little bit different than everybody else does, Scott. But the funny part of it is that they put that full court pressure together, and that's how they've gotten through so far.
Yeah, and I think they're going to play for the national championship. I think Syracuse wins their game, and again, this is just more of a. I'm not that big on Carolina. I didn't really see them going through. And, again, I don't trust Roy Williams as much as I trust other coaches in this environment. We've seen what he does. Now, granted, he has won championships at North Carolina, but as a whole, not the best big-game coach. And of the coaches that are left, I'd take my money with Boeheim.
Before we close out, we'll stay with basketball. Get a couple of more minutes. UConn's women have won 117 out of 118 games, all 117 double digits. Is it a little bit much? We can talk a lot more about it tonight. But as you spin it for that, Scott, 117 out of 118 double digits, not their fault. But something's got to narrow in a little bit. I mean, we watched this past Saturday, then beat a 28-7 Mississippi State team, 61-12 at half. It was a massacre. And I'd watched Victoria Vivians play myself, and she's exceptional. Watched her have close to 40 in an all-star game. And she couldn't get but 6 in the whole game against Connecticut, and it's because they've got all the top players in the country going to the same program. Tennessee used to keep it from being that way a little bit, Scott, but it's gotten a little bit out of hand, in my opinion, in the last 4 years.
Well, there's two ways of looking at it. The question really is, is UConn's success bad for the women's game? And in reality, I don't think it is. I think it's actually it's not hurting. I mean, it brings popularity. One, bringing in more viewers and recognition to see if they're going to continue to do it. Or
you think you really are?
I mean, I don't know. When it's with the women's game, I hate to get all like gender based on it, but with the women's game, you have two sides really. I don't want to watch the UConn game because they know they're going to beat them by 50. Or it's on the other end, you're saying that the competition isn't that great on the women's side, but you watch that UConn team and they could beat the Lakers right now. So it's that they are well coached, and it kind of, I hate to equate it to something like Edgewood, but it's kind of something similar where it's not really Edgewood's fault, and you can only, they're scheduled, UConn's scheduling everybody you can play, but if you're getting ready to go for 4 straight, I think there is more parity. If you look at the other games, you can't just look at UConn, but the other games that are going on in the tournament, you've seen some upsets happen, and some teams get through that aren't necessarily big-time programs, and the women's game as a whole is progressing, but it doesn't look like that because there's been such a stranglehold on the championships with UConn.
I think we got through this segment without you updating the soccer program. Still continuing to win also, weren't they,
Yes,
Scott?
sir. They beat Stanhope last night, and I apologize for not knowing the correct score. I was trying to get it from Coach Teal, but they did beat them, and a Stanhope team that was actually pretty good. He said they had some foreigners there, so it was a different skill set than what they're kind of used to, so that was good to have that. They had a really good goalie, but this team is clicking really well right now. They had their spring break, and now really had a 2-week stretch where they didn't have to play because other teams were on spring break. So now really starting the main part of their season as they're still ranked highly in the top 5.
Yeah, and this is a team that went to the Final Four last year. We were able to go over to Huntsville and call one of their games, and it was a tough loss to a very, very good Northview team that I thought had the best player. I didn't watch enough of it to know, but let me tell you, he was the best player I saw with the 4 teams that we watched that were competing there, because I did see Fort Payne play too, and I didn't see anybody matching up all that great with him. And so it's a very good team, very good talented team, senior laden with some great juniors also. And so we'll continue to follow them and hopefully be able to go and cover them as they move well into the playoffs. Scott, let's go ahead and close out this program. We'll head over to the TV station. We'll have Sports Blitz live tonight from 7 to 9. So for Scott Hardy, I'm Randy Lee saying thanks for tuning in to the Lake Martin Sports Roundup.